Good Erev Shabbos, everyone. This week's portion is that of Metzora. Here we have the laws regarding the purification of the person who is the Metzora, afflicted with this discoloration of the body. And the verse says, Zois tihiyeh teiras ha-Metzora, this shall be the law of the Metzora, b'yom taharasi, and the day of his purification. Little difficult why it has to say this is the law, this shall be the law of the Metzora. It should simply say this is the law of the purification of the Metzora. That's what we're dealing with. It's almost this shall be the law of the Metzora, one idea, on the day of his purification. The second idea. And it's really just one idea. We're dealing with the purification. And then the verse says, the Kohen, he goes to outside the city limits because the Metzora had to be in isolation. The Kohen, he looks, he examines this Metzora. V'hinei, behold, nirpa nega hatzoras min hatzorua. The affliction of tzoras has been healed from the tzoras person. So here too, there are two difficulties. It says that the Kohen, obviously, there were people who would visit, see to the needs of the Metzora, see that he has food, see that he has shelter and he's all right. And they would take a look and see the coloration of his skin. And if they notice that indeed that it is so diminished, they would inform him that he needs to prepare himself to have the Kohen come and examine him. And therefore, when the verse says the Kohen sees and behold, all it had to say is a Ra Kohen, the Kohen sees that he cured, he's healed. Why does it say behold? The word behold suggests something out of the ordinary, something thoroughly unexpected. As if to say we were looking for one thing, behold, something totally different was found. Another difficulty in this verse is that it says, behold, the affliction of tzoras is healed from upon the one afflicted with tzoras, the tzorua. That last phrase is totally unnecessary. All the verse has to say is the Kohen sees that the affliction of tzoras is healed. We know that he was examining the person with the tzoras. Why does it have to say that it's healed from the tzorua, from the person with tzoras? That's obvious. The Or HaChaim illuminates this topic. When a person is afflicted with tzoras, it is a total upheaval in their lives. It is a most unfortunate episode. First, they might have to be quarantined for 7 days. They might not be able to go into work, do the things they're accustomed to doing. Yes, they might be able to work from home, as we were all quarantined with the COVID. But that unto itself is very difficult. He's quarantined at home for 7 days. Then he could be examined, and the Kohen tells him, your affliction did not go away. This is certain tzoras. And now what happens? He has to be sent outside the city limits. Can't be living at home. He cannot have any company, even other people who are similarly afflicted with tzoras. They have to be in a totally different area. Isolation. His clothes have to be torn. He's not allowed to cut his hair. He's not allowed to shave. And if somebody should come within his vicinity, he has to call out, I'm tummy, I'm tummy, letting them know that they should stay away. This is a terrible point in this individual's life. The person probably feels extremely, not only physically isolated, emotionally, psychologically, and this can impact on their mental well-being and maybe even their physical health. The person could feel very sad. He could be filled with melancholy. He could look upon his life like why is this happening to me? What's going on? What did I do? Where shall I turn? The person can fall to the depths of depression. They're losing their job. Who knows how long he's going to be in isolation? He's not having any income. What would we think if we were to ask therapists or to ask a person's family community, what could we do to lift this person's spirits? We would say, well, you tell him that, first of all, he needs company. He needs somebody to be with him. Lahavdil, like a person sitting Shiva, needs to have people to be there. You're not alone. You're not isolated. You're part of a community. We care about you. We're thinking about you. And see to it that he doesn't fall into a depression where he's not eating and he's not sleeping and he's not taking care of his hygiene. Let him shave and let him take a haircut. Let him dress nicely. That's what we would assume would be the appropriate approach. And yet the Torah indicates just the opposite. This person who at this point in their lives needs community and family is to be thoroughly isolated from them. This person who needs to take care of his hygiene, don't cut your hair, don't shave. As a matter of fact, your clothing, tear them. Walk around with torn clothing like a mourner. This is how the person is going to deal with this moment of despair in their lives. This seems to be what the Torah is outlining, appears to be thoroughly contrary to what we, with our human intelligence, would recommend. And this is what the Torah is showing us. That on the contrary, we could do all these things to try to smooth over this difficult period. Don't worry, we care about you. All of these words are very nice, but they're not addressing the issue at hand. This person is not an evil person. They are beloved unto God. And for that reason, God is sending them this very, very significant sign that there is a problem in their character. There's a flaw, and they need to address it. And they have this affliction on their body to let them know that there is indeed an inner problem. The Almighty reveals this to this individual because this person is beloved to Hashem. And rather than say words or do things to cause them to forget or deny the reality, the Torah says the Metzora must face this reality and not look at why is it happening to me? Why is God doing this to me? What does it mean? But to look within, introspection. If Hashem is bringing this upon me, there is a message. And I have to look within my character. Am I such a haughty individual filled with such hubris? Am I such a stingy individual? Am I an egocentric? Am I someone who doesn't think of others? Perhaps I am. And this is what I need to focus on. And this is the meaning. Zos tihya teres hametzora. This is the law of the Metzora, meaning not the purification, not the examination, but the true purification, the purity of his heart and his mind and his character. This is the law, how we deal with the Metzora, diametrically opposed to what therapists and humanitarians would recommend. This is the law that the Torah says, so that we can understand there's a problem. Similar to pain. Nobody wants pain, but pain is a blessing. If a person didn't feel pain, they would never know that there is an internal problem, and we wouldn't address it. And it could exacerbate until the person could be so ill that we cannot cure them. But at the first sign of pain, a person knows, I got a toothache. I better see my dentist. Something's wrong. I better address it. This is the law of the Metzora, addressing the reality. And on the day of his purification, when the reality has been addressed, the Kohen comes, behold, This is incredible. The Torah prescribes that we should do to this Metzora just the opposite of what every humanitarian and therapist and doctor and friend and family would recommend. And by doing just the opposite, now we see that's what brings about the cure. That's what we are beholding. And how did this cure come about? He sees that the affliction of tsaras has been healed from the tzarua. What does it mean from the tzarua? From the person with the tsaras? Of course, that's what we're talking about. It means, you know what brought about the cure? It came from within that person. It came from their dealing with the reality in their lives. It came from them. And that's remarkable. And this is what the Torah is presenting. Each and every one of us in our lives, we experience difficulties and episodes that seem to take our lives and tear them asunder and bring about circumstances. Why is it happening to me? And what does it mean? And what am I supposed to do? And where do I go from here? And yes, many will come and say, don't worry, you'll be okay, and this and that or whatever. But the Torah says, this is all a message from God who loves us. Sometimes these messages can be difficult, but it's a sign from our Creator, our Father in heaven. And the thing to do is not to live in denial and not to run and try to sugarcoat things with honey and good wishes and friends and talking about everything but. The truth is, we need to look within. We need to look within ourselves. How can I make myself a better person? How can I make myself a better Jew? What can I do? If I don't daven every day, maybe I should. If I don't put on my talis and tefillin every day, now's the time to start. If I don't have a proper kosher home, let me learn about it. Let me see what the beauty and the sanctity of the kashrus, how it can impact on my soul. If I'm not familiar with the laws of Shabbos, now's a good time to start. Maybe this is the message that God is sending us. And especially as we stand on the threshold of Pesach, the celebration of the continuity of our spiritual redemption, a time to reflect, a time to look within. Therein lies the key. And therein lies the prescription for behold, we are cured and we are healed. Stay safe, stay healthy, and stay Jewish. Have a wonderful Shabbos.